Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
If you are wondering why NYPD officers are getting snowballs thrown in their faces, look at the tone being set by Democrat leadership these days. Exhibit A, last night's State of the Union address. Dominic Carter here with you. The number to reach me live this hour, 800-848-9222. One person years ago said to King Obama, "You lie," during his State of the Union address, and it was the end of the world. So what about the disgusting display of Democrats last night? President Trump did the right thing, calling a spade a spade.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. Amazing, incredible. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
President Trump calling a spade a spade. 800-848-9222. Your comments on my Twitter. We see your calls coming in. We'll get to them momentarily. Your comments on my Twitter today tell the story. You can follow me or post a comment there at Dominic TV, at Dominic TV. Donna Marie in Philly says, and I'm quoting here, when the hockey team walked in and the members shouted, USA, USA, the squad members chanted KKK, KKK. Watch the film. Think of the people that actually voted for them. They're probably even worse than those two. She goes on to say, Donna Marie in Philly, it appears from last night that the only thing the Democrats stand for are the needs of illegal citizens, even criminals. If you can't even stand for a war hero or a gold medal hockey team, what will you stand for? That's verbatim from Donna Marie and Philly. The lovely Debbie Lebedo, Staten Island, says the State of the Union was an evident eye view of an American president, what he stands for, the country and the people, not agenda or identity politics. God bless President Trump. He shined a light on the dark left, and you've got to be blind not to see it. Debbie Lebedo on my Twitter goes on to add, and I'm dealing with this, folks, a bit later in the hour, and that is Pretty Boy, the California governor. So Gavin Newsom spoke to a mostly black crowd saying he's just like them. He's just like them. He related to low SAT scores. So what is he saying? That's what Debbie says in her comment on my Twitter. They are stupid, and so is he. Instead of relating on a human level, we are all human, and we all are the same and deal with humanity together. This was the pretty boy Gavin Newsom, the governor of the state of California, relating to black people.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you, I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
What is it with Democrats relating to black people? You have Gavin Newsom, who was in town last night for a book signing, and then you have none other than the governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul. We know the things that she said. If you don't remember, folks, and this is not a conversation about race, I'm talking about these Democrats relating to black people. Governor Hochul says, black kids in the Bronx, and hint, hint, I was once a black kid in the Bronx. Black kids in the Bronx don't know what computers are. This is what the governor says. Then she goes to a black church and says you're about to get rebate checks or money coming from the government that was signed by her. And she says, don't go spend it all at the liquor store. What is it? Now, can you imagine if a Republican said anything close to what Kathy Hochul or pretty boy Gavin Newsom had to say? It would be the end of the world. If you are wondering why NYPD officers are getting snowballs thrown in their faces, look at the tone set by Democrat leadership these days. And not just the leadership, their friends in the media. Abby Phillips last night on CNN. Abby Phillips, and she says the president giving out the medals and the awards, that it resulted in almost like a game show type moment.
Itself, but he utilized almost like these game show type moments where you're seeing awards being presented to really bring these moments of togetherness that otherwise might not have been there.
So that's Abby Phillips, right? I'm not even going to go there, but I am going to go to this clown, flaming hot, Don Lemon, right? Well, Dominic, why are you calling them flaming hot? Well, you figure it out, folks. Don Lemon on the State of the Union address.
You want to know my thoughts on the State of the Union? The State of the Union is seriously, Donald Trump saying that he's announcing a fraud unit led by J.D. Vance. Who's going to be the first person they investigate? Donald Trump? Are you kidding me? I felt like I was watching a medal ceremony tonight because he kept giving medals to everyone. I thought he was going to give medals to everyone in the crowd. And the Olympians at the Olympics, when they win the gold or silver or bronze, their medal ceremony wasn't even as long as he talked about them tonight and their medals and whatever. This is crazy. Donald Trump lied a lot about the cost of things, about what he's accomplished for America, about the economy. He just lies. And the Republicans just kept standing up and sitting down, sitting up and standing down. I mean, that must have been the most exercise that those fat you-know-whats have gotten in forever. It was a joke. It should be called the State of the Joke. Terrible.
Flaming hot Don Lemon, right back where he wants to be, flaming hot, because he's in the news cycle. He's the subject of news. He's right where he wants to be. But Don Lemon, you are going to prison. Don't forget that. Dominic Carter here with you. We're about to begin with the telephone calls, your calls in a moment. From Carlotta in Boston, it says here on my screen, to Judith in Brooklyn, Thomas, Long Island. We'll get to your calls, folks. Naomi, New Jersey, Sandra, New Jersey. We'll get to your calls in just a moment, folks. But again, I'll repeat my premise. If you are wondering why NYPD officers are getting snowballs thrown in their faces, look at the tone being set by Democrat leadership these days. None other than Mamdani himself. The indifference from the mayor, making a joke. You throw a snowball at him, his detail's gonna lock you up in a minute, in a New York minute. But you do it at NYPD cops, the mayor thinks it's almost funny.
From the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight. I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
Call for prosecution of those who pelted them?
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
The NYPD says no arrests have been made, but the investigation remains ongoing. Elections have consequences, Sandra.
And yes, folks, elections have consequences. If you don't believe so, go ask the family members of those 19 homeless individuals that died out in the cold during Mamdani's first storm. Oops, my bad. I'm getting adjusted to the job. That's what the mayor literally should have said. And then for the second storm, he goes, oops, my bad. I'm not going to leave them on the street. But as soon as the storm is over, you can't touch their encampments. You have to leave their encampments. He is taking New York City down. I am not even going to begin to focus on the third candidate in the race for mayor that is as quiet as can be these days, that elected Mamdani wholeheartedly by staying in the race. I'm not going to focus on that person. Notice he doesn't say anything these days because it's all his fault that we are stuck with Mamdani. But you know what? There were some folks that were forced to tell the truth last night. This from CNN.
Among speech watchers tonight, 64% say his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech from their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself.
The media is not going to tell you that, though. It was a masterful speech. The media is not going to tell you that. And by the way, Trump calling for, and rightfully so, for Ilhan Omar and Talib, whatever her name is, both of them, to be institutionalized. Who in the does Ilhan Omar think she... Lady, you came here begging for help. I don't care what anybody... That lady's not an American. You came here begging for help. And you have the audacity, the cojones, yes, for a female, to stand there and interrupt and heckle the president of the United States of America. I can't wait until she is shown the door. David Axelrod, Obama's guy, King Obama's guy, even admitting that Trump's speech was a success.
He also basically kept control of himself, which I think will be a great relief to his strategists and aides there. But the question, I think he did well from their perspective for the reasons that you say, John, and he used the gallery very skillfully to kind of simulate empathy, which is a thing that he's been lacking, and that's sort of a surrogate for that. The question is, he started off the speech by saying, this is the turnaround for the ages. Right. And as you know, because you're traveling around the country, people don't think the direction is right. And I don't think this cured that. So we'll see. But I don't think a lot of the people who needed to be persuaded probably were watching this speech.
So a very interesting night, the State of the Union address. We see all of your telephone calls. I've got to take a break. The number to reach me live right now, this hour, 800-848-9222.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Indifference from Mom Donnie when it comes to the NYPD and Israel for that matter, but do something to an imam and see what will happen then. Throw a snowball into a face of a Muslim leader and see what the mayor of New York City will do then. And you know what, folks? It's time to return to the day of yesteryear. I don't feel so good today. What's that, folks? I feel like I have a cold. That's called a blue flu. And it's time for I don't feel so good. Hermit Sal on my Twitter at Dominic TV says it would be dangerous if they do so, but an NYPD strike is probably the only way to teach Mom Donnie and the city council a lesson. King Obama does his State of the Union address. One person says you lie. It led the newscast for days. For days. It was the end of the world. Look at what the Democrats did to Trump last night. And the media, you'll hear coming up next hour, the media blames Trump, not the Democrats, Trump. And I can't wait until Ilhan Omar is led out in handcuffs. I want to see if she has all that mouth as she is perp walked herself. I'm a member of Congress, the Constitution. You're from Somalia. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, lady. Let's begin with your telephone calls. Let's start with Thomas, Long Island, line 5. Thomas, what's on your mind?
Thanks for taking my call. What the Democrats did when President Trump asked that question, who would stand for the American citizen, was despicable. But what I want the Republicans to do now is use that in their political commercials before the election, any election, and every day, in fact, to let the Democratic Party voters know how the Democratic politicians feel about them. I think it would be a perfect commercial to get people to realize how stupid the Democratic politicians are or how greedy they are.
Fair enough, Thomas, and it's a great idea. The only thing I take exception with, you said the Democratic Party. I didn't know that we had two major political parties. It seems like we have the Republican Party, and then we have the Party for Criminals and Illegals. I don't know what I don't know if they call themselves socialists. I don't know if they call themselves Democrats, but I got your point. It's a great point, Thomas. Let's go to Rhode Island. Actually, to Boston, it says here on my screen. Carlotta, are you in Boston on this day?
Yes, and I'm trying to get home to Rhode Island. But anyway.
Wait a minute. Are the roads bad? It's about an hour and a half from Boston to Rhode Island. Well, give or take. Are the roads bad?
Well, not so much now, no. But, you come upon these icy patches. But anyway, what I wanted to say was you spoke about two things. You spoke about Gavin Newsom trying to convince us how stupid he is. So the only thing now is for AOC to come on and say, no, I'm dumber.
Right. Well, no, she's never going to do that. She's just going to go out the country and embarrass all of us and not be able to answer a simple question. And what I don't understand, Carlotta, Rule 101 in politics, even us journalists know this. If you don't know the answer, you quickly punt and divert to something else, talk, and eat up the time. She just literally froze. And we finally saw in real time, that she is an absolute idiot. The elevator does not go to the top floor. Get a drink. Go get us a drink, AOC, because you, a former bartender, you offend the bartenders of the world. That's how dense this lady is. Time for a break. We're coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
On my Twitter, Liz Rosenblatt, the lovely Liz, just posted here at Dominic TV, President Trump is a genius, a hero, she capitalizes, true American leader. I agree with you, Liz. She goes on to say, we are the lucky, and she capitalizes the word lucky ones. To the Democrats, Liz goes on to say, who hate, and she capitalizes the word hate. And the capitalization continues, please leave our country and never return. I agree with you, Liz. I really do. Masterful what the president did last night. You want to understand, and folks, if the Republicans are screwing up, trust me, if you know anything about my career, I'll be the first one to blast Republicans. But right now, it's the Democrats that are no longer the Democrat Party, and they are literally the party of illegals, the party of criminals, and will never win a national election again until they change their format. No matter how much kids hit police officers in the face with snowballs, that's all you're doing. Is corrupting young people of America. So no matter how many times those young people do something stupid and they might get shot, and then their mom is going to be on the news, oh, my young Johnny was an honor student. He was going to go to Harvard University. Well, ma'am, why was he out there throwing snowballs and police officers? But he was going to go to Harvard University. He was an honor student. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Stop lying. If you want to understand how bad things are, here's somebody from Hollywood for the Democrat Party. Mel Gibson. We all know him from Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Him and Danny Glover, whatever the actor's name is. Mel Gibson here complaining that his own Malibu mansion. Remember, you have Democrats in California. You had the fires in California. And his mansion was completely destroyed and has not been rebuilt yet.
They have another plan. And, he's saying, build back better. This concept that's got whiskers on it. Everybody says it. And have you ever seen government build back better? I mean, there's still people from the Woolsey fire living in trailers and stuff, okay? When have you seen the government build back better?
Very rarely.
Social engineering, environmental regulation, and spending. That's the last thing any of us who've been burned out need are a bunch of bureaucrats telling us how to rebuild our communities.
And that's from Mel Gibson. So now let's go back to the State of the Union address. Democrats even refusing to stand for the mother of that young lady in Charlotte, North Carolina. Remember her? The woman that escaped war in Ukraine, the petite, small, white woman, brutally stabbed to death by that African-American savage that stabbed her in her neck on the rail train. No one came to her defense. Remember her? Well, you have a Democrat female mayor in Charlotte, and the mayor there almost got away with it. They almost buried the fact that this woman that escaped the war in Ukraine had been stabbed to death on that light rail train. Oh, by a career criminal that should have never, ever been out, right? And so what makes the president's speech masterful last night? He said, not so fast, Democrats. Let's talk about what happened in Charlotte.
Hey, what's going on with Charlotte? Last summer, 23-year-old Irina was riding home on the train when a deranged monster who had been arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget. There were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal set free to kill in America. Came in through open borders. Mrs. Zaretska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
and the president, in a masterful move, having the mother of that young lady at the State of the Union address. The only thing, and that's by a hot New York minute that was bipartisan, was when the Olympic men hockey team came in that won the gold medal. I don't know, folks. Let's go back to your telephone calls, 800-848-9222. Let's go to Rich, line 1 in Westchester. Rich, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Dominic, it's amazing how far the deterioration of law and order has occurred, because if you remember not too long ago, some malcontent threw a sandwich at a cop and he was immediately run down in handcuffs.
And that's right, in New York City, correct? He threw the sandwich at I think it was D.C., threw a sandwich at a federal agent, and the feds don't play that.
But now you can have a mass of people throw snowballs at cops, and it's hands off, don't touch them. It's awful, just awful.
It is awful, and again, Rich, perhaps it's why I'm not a police officer, because somebody might have been shot in the face if they hit me with a snowball. And then again, mommy's on TV. Oh, my little Johnny was going to go on to Harvard University. He was an honor student. Ma'am, well, what was your child doing out there throwing snowballs at police officers? He was going to Harvard. Rich, thank you for the telephone call. Let's go to Dino, line 5 in Queens. Dino, welcome to the Dominic Carter Show.
Thank you for taking my call. I'm a regular caller, Dominic, but I just want to say I loved every minute of it yesterday. And where I'm going with this is when the cameras were looking at Ilhan Omar and Talib with that. Honestly, do you ever see two cockroaches in the projects don't know which way to go?
Unfortunately, I used to see it all the time, Dino.
No, that's what they remind me of.
But wait, are you talking about the small roaches or the big cockroaches?
The big ones and the small ones, they're all mixed together.
Yeah, they are mixed together. They are.
Yeah.
I don't want to see another roach as long as I live, Dino. I've seen enough for all of the entire listening audience. As a matter of fact, one of the scars, the trauma that I have from growing up in the projects, I love going back to be with my people. I really do. But I don't want to go into another elevator that's urine filled because frankly, and I'm sorry, folks, to people that live in the project, you can't blame the white man for the urine in your elevator. You can't do it. I'm sorry. Or for the feces in the staircase. You can't do it. Go ahead, Dino.
Yeah, I was just wondering how do roaches get into the Senate floor?
Easy. That's a great question. You pack together all the Somali community in Minnesota and you find a way to get elected because they're all together, and then you get elected and you show America what you really think of America, how disrespectful you are. That little congresswoman, she wouldn't even refer to the president of Somalia the way she did with President Trump last night, talking about you killed Americans. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're not American. I don't care what the paper says. I don't care what document you have. Dino, thank you for the great call. You're not American. You are, I got to be careful here, Carlos, to have your button ready in case I go off the deep end. You are an ungrateful. Yes. And let's just leave it at that. I better move on so I don't get myself in trouble here. Dennis on the Upper East Side, line 1. What's going on, Dennis?
Dominic, you're 100% right. The blue flu should be in full effect. He doesn't even support his own guys on the street. It's sad, but it's true. I don't know what to say.
Dennis,
they should just.
Hey, Dennis. But Dennis, you nor I, we're not advocating the blue flu. We're only saying, I don't feel so good today. I can't report to duty. I mean, we're not advocating something that's illegal. But if the officers don't feel good, if the entire police force for the city of New York doesn't feel good, it is what it is. Go ahead, Dennis. You have the final word.
And also with Trump, with that girl that killed by that savage you brought up, the system is so messed up. She's victimized twice by the guy on the bus, and then the system itself. There's no justice for that. It's just such a sad
Exactly.
fate.
And to look at her face as she was bleeding out literally on a rail train, where she looked at him like, why did you just do this to me? And seconds later, she slumped over, bled out, and died right there. And nobody did anything. Nobody did anything. Oh boy. I don't know. Dennis, thank you for the call. Line 5, Rose, Long Island. Rose, what's going on?
Hi, Dominic. I'm just curious. Do you have any idea what the seminal moment was when the good guys became the bad guys, or was this a slow metamorphosis? Because
it's been a slow process. It's been a slow process for years. It's been first the game of low expectations with the minority communities. It's been the game of you deliver your vote for Democrats and we don't care what you do, how bad it is, we'll look the other way. It became the game of we're going to put somebody that is clearly incompetent on the ticket, Kamala Harris, and it doesn't matter. You know, you can say whatever you want about Obama, folks. You can say whatever you want about Obama. At least he had the credentials. He didn't have the experience, but he had the credentials. And now he ran the game. Yes, he did. Community organizer. And he rode that all the way to the White House. He did. Right. And did he screw up after that? You know, let's have a beer with the officer. Remember that incident and so on. So to answer your question, Rose, this has been building and building and building for a while. And, even to the leadership, look at Mamdani. There is no way this, Carlos, you have your button ready? This, I don't even know what to call him, Rose. I don't even know what to call this guy, this clown, this little boy. I didn't even say anything bad, but yes, I'm glad you're proving to me that you have it ready. Because God only knows what I may say. This guy, you know, when I started out in this business, Rose, we had a legend as mayor, Ed Koch. And I was scared to death, and I'm sent down to City Hall, and I've got to ask him all these tough questions. And he looked at me like, who the do you think you are? And I mean, he gave it to me, and I gave it to him. And that's when I started building. And then it went on to Giuliani, another great mayor. Even Bloomberg, I can put in that category. Then we went to Mr. Dante. I need to have the talk with you as my son, as my biracial son with an afro. We've got to have the talk about the police. You had Bill Thompson should have been the mayor of New York, a moderate black candidate. Oh no, but that couldn't happen. The moderate black candidate lost to the white candidate, de Blasio, who outblacked the black moderate candidate. De Blasio went to the left of Bill Thompson. Bill Thompson lost, and there we have it with de Blasio. Rose, thank you for the great call. Let's see here. Let's go to Sandra, line 4, New Jersey. Sandra, what's on your mind?
Wow, Dominic, you say so many wonderful things. You know, yesterday was an emotional day for me. In the morning, I watched the video about the police, and I felt great sadness, really sad, not anger, sadness, to see these beautiful people degraded and humiliated. However, I said to myself, you know what? They showed restraint. That took more strength than anything else. So I wanted to comment on that. And then I wanted to say, of course, Donald Trump, every minute his speech got better and better and better. At the end, I was standing there applauding when Royce was getting his beautiful award. It touched my heart. So I went from sadness to great joy. And then you mentioned last night about how he handled the Supreme Court judges. He shook their hands. Don't forget, though, he did say something to them during that speech. He said he was disappointed how they handled their decision about the tariffs. So he managed to get his little zinger in there on that, and I was happy about that, Dominic, right?
Well, yes, but the point is the cameras were locked on. This is what we in the media call, Sandra, a setup moment. They were trying, we know when we expect something to happen, and oftentimes it goes down exactly the way we planned, at least those of us that are good in this game of media. And so the cameras tried to set Trump up last night. They kept showing a frown-looking John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And they kept showing them, and they showed Trump walking up. They were building up the momentum. Dun, dun, dun. And then they were waiting for Trump to diss the Chief Justice. Trump is smarter than all the networks combined. Shook their hands, went up and delivered his speech. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day is I really don't have to say anything. It's just this simple. And I love my friends at the New York City PBA, Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, representing law enforcement. But the thought of the day, if you will, it really comes down to this. I don't feel so well today. We would never advocate our friends at the PBA engaging in a blue flu. But, Mr. Mayor, since you say that the youngsters that smash the officers with snowballs, that they're children, and that since you're showing such indifference, let's see if you show the same indifference when the entire police force calls out sick for the day. Who's going to protect you, King Mamdani? Oh, I bet you won't have a public schedule that day, sire, will you? Let's go back to your telephone calls. Let's go to Judith in Brooklyn, line 2. Judith, what's on your mind?
No problem. He'll have socialists watch him, you know. He'll call. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hi, Dominic. Listen, can I share some thoughts with you?
As long as they're quick.
You know me, not so quick, but I'll try.
Right, that's why I'm saying as long as they're quick.
I'll try, baby. Listen, powerhouse speech, chock full of accomplishments and great goals. That's what I heard. To me, one of the best lines was, I don't know if you heard it, he whispered it, what a difference a president makes. And oh boy, can you imagine Nightmare Harris? But, Dominic, how low can you go? Being crazy. They couldn't even stand up for those Ukrainian parents when this revolving door criminal that they support murdered this woman. These Democrats have
No, you're wrong there, Judith. Wait, Judith, you're dead wrong there. Okay, I'm with you until you just said that. You said that the criminal justice system, that they support it. They didn't support it with these revolving door criminals. They created it. There's a big difference. Go ahead.
Stand corrected, sir. I want to tell you something. These Democrats, I thought to myself, they have turned shame into shameful, grace into disgrace, law and order into lawless and disorder. And this is what they, quote unquote, sit for. They don't even stand. And as far as that shrieking anti-American hater, Ilhan Omar, and her partner in crime, Rashida Tlaib, wearing her F ice pin. She loves F, you know, Mother F, this F. She loves that, Rashida Tlaib. Those two should have been thrown out of the chamber, okay, and out of this country. They don't belong in Congress. They just spread their hatred. They're anti-Americans. They collude with terrorists, and they should be investigated. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Judith, for the call. Let's go to line 3, Naomi in New Jersey. Naomi, what's going on?
Love your show and your thought process. Just two quick things. First of all, interesting, I'm driving in Brooklyn, see about 20 snow shovelers at one corner, 3 of whom are lightly shoveling and the other 17 standing around. Asked if they're through Mamdani's snow shoveling and was told yes. What a joke.
So wait, were they the $19 an hour employees or the $28 an hour employees? I know you have no idea of knowing, but, and Naomi, you're correct because we knew this was going to happen. This is, Mamdani's New York. Go ahead. Your second point.
The second point was, how come Sid Rosenberg gets kicked out for saying says who when he was at the last, State of the Union address, and these women can sit there and say things far more vile.
Well, it's a big difference. Sid, and I love him, Sid is not elected to anything. Those are duly elected officials. It's a big difference.
I expect them to be more civil and more appropriate.
No, I know what you expect, but you got to put yourself in the shoes of the people that have to enforce this. it's very easy to enforce the rules for someone that's just visiting for the day. Take Sid out of it. Anyone that's just visiting for the day, it's very easy to enforce the rules. But for someone that's an elected official, it's not as easy. Even though in the first seconds they threw out that clown that was thrown out last year, that's how he makes himself famous. Folks, support America's military and first responder heroes. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact by donating your car or land. Go to T2T.org. I am back live at midnight.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.